welcome back to the Locked In podcast. I am Taylor.
And I am Dan.
Indeed. Bit of a different setup. We have this spaceship in front of us now, and we're wearing headphones that make us look like Teletubbies. But hopefully, it does sound a lot better, because we've upgraded from microphones that cost more than £4.50.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so hopefully this is a bit of an upgrade for you. But first of all, we did something at the weekend.
We did.
We did some weekend activities. We, as we mentioned previously, were the shirt sponsors for a charity football match. We said in this that it contained Troy Deeney, but it didn't, because that one got cancelled. So we got moved to one containing Essex legend David Bentley, and amongst a smattering of other people. So yeah, that was a fantastic day. It was my first time on a professional pitch, as I mentioned. How did you find it?
Yeah, eye-opening. I think both you mentioned it early on, that we kind of had the assumption that these celebrities would be very egotistical and like standoffish, but honestly, every single person that was there, if you entered a conversation with them, they just opened up and started talking. It was lovely. It was a really, really nice experience to see that, despite the fact these guys have been paid 5-10k a week for their careers, and celebrity status wise they're up here or whatever, they didn't show it. They all seemed pretty humble, nice, friendly, helpful, and they didn't need to be. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the day, and it was a good learning curve.
Yeah, it was a lot of firsts for us, wasn't it? The first time that we've done this sort of larger scale, if you like, sponsorship. First thing outside of the norm in terms of something for one of the new business ventures.
Yeah.
And I think we could count it as a massive success, even if for nothing more than the people we managed to talk to and get in touch with and, build a sort of rapport with. It was fantastic. And I got to meet a load of football players, which is always good.
Yeah, it was cool. Very weird interviewing them.
It was a bit, wasn't it? I mean,
not surreal in terms of like starstruck, but just surreal in terms of I'm not an interviewer, so it's just an odd thing.
I don't mean to sound like a dick, but you could tell.
Oh God,
yeah. Dan was sort of more having a conversation with them as opposed to interviewing them. Yeah. It's just the way that Dan is. He wants to be a part of the conversation and would rebuttal everything they said with another comment. It's just not standard interviewing technique, but I think it came out quite well, actually.
Too conversationalist.
A little bit, yeah. You should just let them talk, yeah. But you weren't to know, were you?
Well, I do know. I didn't think of it in the moment. It just seemed weird having a conversation with a person, but it not being a conversation, and almost not acknowledging their answer. Yeah. My brain's like, I don't want to be rude. I want to show them that I'm here and I'm listening, but that is not the format to be doing that.
No, it's but no, they were legends. So we interviewed David Bentley himself. Gave us far more of his time than I thought he was going to. Yeah. And because we kept fucking things up and asking him to come back every 5 seconds. Oh, sorry, David, can you just do the... No, we also interviewed Greg Halford from Huddersfield, Nottingham Forest and #United. Matthew Briggs used to play for Fulham and Watford. And then Leroy Lita. And if you don't know who Leroy Lita is, you're too young.
Legend.
Yeah, absolute Premier League legend. So much smaller than I thought he was going to be. Yeah, not going to lie, he was not diminutive, but I just always envisioned him as this 6'4" machine. Yeah, and he wasn't.
5'9". Yeah, small little fella, but he's not lost his goal poaching.
Oh God, no.
He scored a header, and honestly, I don't think half the Premier League strikers now would have been in the right position to do that.
No.
You can just see he is like built to score goals.
Yeah, I'd take him at United in a heartbeat.
That's saying something.
40 years old, yeah.
Poor Rasmus.
Really, really good.
Shall I grab one of the
shirts? Grab the shirt, yeah. Yeah, show it off. That's why we got it. This will be in the back of set at some point when I can be bothered to put it up. But
So we've got
That is a match-worn, signed David Bentley shirt with our logo plastered on the front of it.
I've just seen the poor bastard was given a medium. Jesus, poor sod.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It smells of sweat and expensive aftershave.
yeah, I'm not going to be sniffing that. Thank you very much.
I can't help it. I've hung it on the thing that I have to walk past it every time I leave the room. And you just get a waft every time.
Yeah,
Not intentional.
of course.
But, you know,
it is.
that's what we do.
Yeah, great
So yeah,
experience.
it's been very interesting. We've got another one coming up as well, but you'll see plastered across whatever platform you happen to be watching this on. You'll see some content from that day, as of whenever you're watching this, because it will go out before this. So but yeah, keep a lookout. It'd be really good to get some interactions on it, see what people think, see what we could have done more or better, or you know, more or less, or what you want to see out of content like that. Because as we said, it was a first time experience for us doing something like this. So we weren't 100% sure what we were doing. Luckily, we had someone with us. Shout out Ethan, you're a legend.
Absolutely.
Who knew what he was doing with a camera. So that's why it looks a damn sight better than what you get when I film it. And but some really, really good looking stuff in terms of the content coming out. So look forward to that.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. But yeah, I've found a couple of things. There was very, very little in the news. The football world seems to be dead at the minute, just waiting for finals and the end of the season and the transfer window. But I don't know if you saw in the news Arsene Wenger talking shit.
Oh, was this about Man United?
Yeah, so for those who didn't see it, he was asked in an interview about how he feels about the winner of the Europa League getting into the Champions League. And he said that it was ridiculous because this was all based around, effectively, because
United.
Tottenham and United are 15th and 16th in the Premier League. And he was trying to make the point that it was tarnishing the prestige of the Champions League by letting in people who are that lowly rated in their league. But what I didn't understand is he said, well, if you win, you should get re-entered into the Europa League. And immediately what I thought to that was, so if you win the championship, you get to play in the championship again.
I hear what you're saying, but obviously it doesn't work that. Because they're cup competitions as opposed to league formats, I'm not too sure if that's an apples with apples comparison.
No,
but I know what you're saying.
It's not, and I know it's not, because it's an international competition, effectively. But it just annoyed me, because if it was Arsenal back in the day in that position, would he be going, oh, I'm so glad I get to play in the Europa League again? He'd be up in arms saying that they should be in the Champions League, because it's a hell of an achievement. It's not the most prestigious, but the ones who aren't in the most prestigious are in that competition. So it's the best of the rest, and they've had to beat out 32 other teams in order to get to the final. That's an achievement, and that deserves a reward. And getting to play in the same competition that you've just won through a lot of blood, sweat and tears isn't much of a reward in my eyes. It should. I understand where he's coming from in terms of this is a very odd situation.
Yeah.
But then I didn't hear him up in arms when Wigan got to play in the Europa League and then got relegated to the Championship in the same season. So they were playing in the Europa League while playing in the Championship.
Yeah.
Didn't have an issue with that. But because it's Man United and he's still got a bee in his bonnet because we were better than him for 20 years, suddenly it's a problem. But
that's the way you view it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just bitter because Man United dominated when his team any other time period probably would have dominated. And he won. Well, they've won one league in 23 years.
So do you think that, considering all of the context, that Man United are finishing 15th in the Premier League, do you think they deserve to be in the Champions League just for winning the Europa?
Yes.
Genuinely?
Yes.
Because I really don't.
Why?
Well, because obviously the way that you qualify, standard ways, into the Europa League, you've got to finish 5th, 6th or 7th in the Prem. To finish 7 places, if not 8 places below the lowest entrance point, even if you have managed to win one cup competition, I think the reward should be, it's actually a reward for them to get back into the Europa League, because on their league standing position, they wouldn't be in it. So, it's sort of technicality that they're going to be given the reward of the Europa League because their league performance was so poor.
Well, no, I disagree to some extent because if you isolate the different competitions, in order to get into the Europa League, they won the FA Cup. They beat out every other Premier League team. They were all entered into it, and they didn't win it. Man United won it, so they earned their place in the Europa League by doing that. And then the Europa League, irrespective of where they are in the league, they've still had to beat every team, and they were unbeaten for most of that run. It is a generational, form of run of form in terms of the Europa League. Yes, their league, but irrespective of where they are in the league, it doesn't equate to where they are in the Europa League. They were put in the competition legitimately through winning the FA Cup. That's always been the case. That they won their place. Yes, if you look at that, they shouldn't. By that metric of what you and Arsene Wenger are saying, by winning the FA Cup, they should get to play in the FA Cup again. It's not a reward. Sorry, it's not. So the reward was playing in the Europa League. It's a very unconventional way of getting to the Champions League if they do, but it's a perfectly legitimate one that's been in place for many, many years. And now that it's suddenly contentious because it's two sleeping giants, effectively, because they're not doing what they should in the league, shouldn't affect what the rewards they get for a massive achievement, frankly, of getting to a Europa League final and winning it.
I do see. I think because technically it is the rules right now, it's the rules. But I do think subjectively that it's a bit of a bad rule. Personally, I think that you need to take more context. I think that because when was the last time that this happened? Has it ever happened that potentially a team finishing 15th or 16th is going to be in the Champions League? Has that ever happened?
I think it happened with one of the Spanish teams when they won it a few years ago, didn't they?
Villarreal or something?
It was one of them, where they were abysmal in the league, but they won and they got in the Champions League. It's happened, but suddenly because it's Man United and they're probably the most vilified club in the country, it's suddenly an issue. Yes, Man United have been utter shite in the league this year. But halfway through the season, it was because they were prioritising. Once the league form has gotten to the point where they know they're not getting top four, you think, right, what other options have we got? Winning the Europa League. We're in that. Let's prioritise it. And that's what they did. And that's why their league form is getting worse and worse, is because they're playing younger and younger and more offbeat second B teams, and they're fielding them against good first teams. And that's why they're getting battered. But it maintained their form in the Europa League, which was their greatest chance of getting in the Champions League, which is one of the only ways that they're going to balance the books. Yeah. So I think they do go hand in hand in terms of why the league form has taken such a dive. I mean, you look at the team they fielded against, who was it? Brentford, wasn't it? Brentford. There was kids all over that team, who? And second teamers. And
I didn't see the game.
Amas was playing, Camison was on the bench. I can't remember the exact lineup, but it wasn't a full. The only real out-and-out first teamer that was playing was Mazraoui. Yoro came on and got injured, which is exactly what they didn't want to happen. But yeah, it was a B team effectively.
Right.
It wasn't the first choices. There was no Bruno, for example. He wasn't playing and stuff like that. And it's very easy to see when Bruno doesn't play. Man United aren't the same team. So it's obvious what he's doing, and it's well known what he's doing. But I think he's doing it for the right reasons, because the league was gone from about a month after he took over. It's not really his fault where they are. It was set up badly. He only came in the end of November.
Yeah.
So half the league season's done by then. So I think he's done very well to do what he's done in the circumstances of the squad not being very good, and still managed to get to a Europa League final and potentially getting in the Champions League. I think that's commendable as opposed to something to laugh at. It's priorities.
Yeah, I certainly want to see him manage for longer in the Prem, see what he can do if he can prove himself, because his record, was it Porto or Lisbon? Lisbon won it. Yeah, Lisbon, he was ridiculous, but he had a set of players in a very different league, and we need to see if he can prove that in the world's toughest league, really. Yeah,
and he came in with absolutely no pre-season, no chance to actually implement it, properly. And he's playing a very, very weird system. As I've said in the previous podcast, Man United have been a back four team since the 50s. So to suddenly come in and start playing a 3/5 back, and completely different. No wingers. Man United have been very very lucky with the wingers they've had, and very very successful with the wingers they've had. Some of the most iconic players for Man United in history are wingers, and to play without them effectively is very very alien. And to not have a pre-season to implement that and get the players playing the way he wanted to was always going to be a very very hard thing to do. And I think in terms of what they've done, they got the league obviously is embarrassing, and it should never be that bad. But if he gets a trophy, then I think that's a good outcome considering the way he's joined. I mean, there's a massive movement at the minute of saying Amorim out. I'm like, the guy's had not even 6 months.
Yeah.
He hasn't even been there 6 months, and he hasn't had a pre-season. He's got none of his own players except Dorgu, who, when he's been on the pitch, has looked one of the better players.
Yeah.
He's having to sculpt Bruno into a trickier number 10 or a deep line midfielder. It's not. He's shoehorning people in where they don't really suit. So I think if he gets a few of his own players, and I don't mean like from Lisbon, I just mean players who he knows will suit his system. I think you'll see a massive uptick because the system will just work.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean you've seen the stirrings of it. It's definitely there. You see little flashes of where it does work, and they start playing really nice flowing football and stuff like that. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often enough at the minute, simply because the players aren't used to it, and they're not really taking to it because it's. I think the only ones that really have are the centre backs. I think the centre backs are taking to it really well. I mean, Maguire looks like a different player than when in the last couple of years when he's been playing in a back four, and he gets exposed very easily. But when you've got two more quicker centre backs around him, he can afford to not have the recovery pace and things like that. It's really brought out the best in Maguire, definitely.
Yeah.
So it shows that it can work and it will work, but not with the current set of players.
No. Yeah. Exciting times. Looking forward to the 25-26 season.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope he gets. I know there's not a lot of money apparently in Man United, but I've seen them, holding advanced talks with a couple of players who are expensive. So there's obviously a bit of money to be thrown about. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can get Cunha or Mbeumo, which are the two that I've heard.
Yeah, I'd like to see Cunha there.
Yeah, I think Cunha would be my choice out of the two.
He's exciting.
Very. Yeah, he'd suit that number 10 spot that they're really struggling with at the minute.
Yeah.
To a T. You think him and Ahmad.
Him, Aït-Nouri and Gomez have basically kept Wolves in the Prem this year.
Yeah, I've seen all three mentioned for Man United, but I think Gomez just signed a new contract.
Yeah, I'm not interested in him.
Don't think he's going anywhere. Aït-Nouri, I think he's going to Chelsea.
That's
like every other player in the fucking world. Yeah. It's. I think some of the names I've seen thrown about. Liam Delap, I think, is another one, which I'm not that excited about because it's another young player that.
No proof.
Yeah, you need a bit more.
What's he done? He scored 12 goals in the Prem or something.
Something like that.
It's not bad.
He's been a good player for Ipswich, but. I don't think he's the man that's going to be the talismanic striker that Man United need. They're looking at. I heard Gyökeres and Osimhen thrown around.
Yeah.
And he's a good player, but he's not in the same league as those two.
Not based on experience so far, no.
No. But yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. The other thing, unfortunately, that did become a little bit of a Man United discussion, is another Man United centric thing. I saw in the news either last night or this morning that Marcus Rashford is pushing for a move to Barcelona.
What?
Yeah. Apparently he's working with this person who's very well connected to Barcelona and is trying to push a move. I don't know how true this is, but what it just made me think, why would Man United allow him to do whatever he wanted in terms of he wants to push for a loan move? Initially, and I'm just like, why would Man United, after all the problems he caused and not training properly and Amorim having to vilify him in the press because the press were hounding Amorim saying, why is Rashford not playing? And so they sent him out on loan, and now he's like, well, I want to go and play for Barcelona. Why the fuck would they accommodate that? If a sale comes on the table, which is likely. And, they can get the 40-50 million that they want for him, because I think he's probably warranting that price with how he's playing for Villa. I don't know why they would pander to him and allow him to dictate that when he's done nothing but cause problems.
What's the is it ask for acceptance or forgiveness? I think he's just going for the forgiveness route. Like he's trying to basically navigate a way of there becoming a warm lead, so to speak, that makes it an easier process for Man United to go, okay, we've got his wages covered. We've got him out the door, but he's still one of our own assets. We still own him. And if he does have a half-decent, season at Barcelona, his value goes through the roof. Because to do it there is impressive, is my thinking. But I don't see how he gets into that team. Who
Are you dropping Yamal or Rafinha?
Neither.
Exactly.
So why would you want to go there? He's not going to take Lewen's place, is he?
No.
I don't even know who their second striker is, but I'm going to pick them over Rashford. That says a lot.
Yeah,
The fact that I don't even know who it is.
I don't know who it is either.
But, Ferran Torres. There we go. I'm picking Ferran Torres all day long.
Top, does he?
Yeah, I'm picking Ferran all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see it happening. 28-year-old Marcus Rashford, Rafinha, Yamal are way younger than him. Well, Yamal is.
Yeah.
Rafinha's about the same age, but
Yeah.
Rafinha, I think, has proved that he's a better player than Rashford. So why would they accommodate his wages? Oh, that was the other thing. Apparently he's willing to take a wage cut to go there,
Oh, isn't that kind?
but not willing to take a wage cut to help out Man United. Prick.
He probably feels mistreated, and the thing is, it's very tricky as an outsider or a fan to actually have any sort of validity in this, because if you haven't, we don't know all the situation, and there may be that he's been treated like shit, but we just don't hear that, and he obviously can't say it because then it breaks his contract, so he's trying to he can't voice that to the media or to the general public, but we don't know. All we see is the performance on a Saturday, and we go dog shit.
I just think that Ten Hag ruined him, personally. I think that because he was untouchable under Ten Hag, he started every week, no matter how he was playing, how he was acting. This was when he was off in Belfast and all over the place, when he should have been at training, and doing interviews that were unsanctioned and all this sort of shit. And I'm just like, he strikes me as the sort of petulant child thing. Couldn't get his own way when the new manager came in, so threw his toys out the pram and said, "No, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Well, if you'd have just worked as hard as you did to get in the Villa team, you'd have got back in the Man United team.
Indeed, he would.
And it's just mad. He's willing to work hard for Barcelona. He's willing to work hard for Villa, but won't do it for Man United, his hometown club. And I don't get that.
No.
I know that there must have been something that poisoned the water, almost certainly, but whether that was from the Rashford camp or whether that was from the Man United camp, I don't know. It's a shame because, it's not very often now that you see a Manc born and bred Man United player that is or can be as good as he is. It's just a shame. But
Yeah.
I think it's time to go on a permanent. Sod the loan. Man United need the money. He obviously doesn't want to play for Man United anymore, so why would he want to stay under contract?
Yeah.
Especially if he's willing to take a pay cut. Well, why wouldn't you just leave on a permanent?
Yeah.
Well, I know why. It's because Barcelona can't afford to pay for him. But yeah, it's madness that's the case. But there we go.
Modern day footballers.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Dan. That's all I could find in the news. There was a swear fucker. Oh, the only other thing. Did you see the fucking Forest owner?
Yeah, on the
run
pitch.
onto the pitch.
Yeah. See, I've got a weird outlook on this because I think, like, in a societal view, you would say he shouldn't be doing that because other managers don't. No, other owners don't, sorry. And you pay a manager to be doing that aspect of the job, the on-pitch stuff. He's literally employed to deal with that. But I imagine if you feel like you're at your wit's end for whatever reason, you've just watched a performance that is nowhere near the standard that you've been seeing all season. I think it would be tough as a caring, passionate owner to not get involved. It must be harder because you are the one that's just paid for that man to take 11 players out on a pitch and watch them lose. By the way, I can't remember the result of that game. I think it was 2-2 or something. But the point being is, like, it's tough when you're that invested, not just financially but emotionally, to go, I've just watched, quite frankly, dog shit. Where's the beeper? Thank you. Better late than never. And I just think it's tough. I can see both sides. Again, he shouldn't be doing it, but I can understand why he did.
The thing that I found the funniest was that people were memeing him because he's a billionaire and he was using an iPhone 7.
But that's why he's a billionaire. Yeah. The people who pick up on that, you are more dumb than you realise. That is for sure. Jesus.
Yeah, I just thought that was, funny. Because, you're right, aren't you? Like, if I was the owner, the last thing I'd want is the owner dictating anything to do with actually playing.
Yeah.
Because then that's just a recipe for... That's when you get people like Vincent Tan and he starts changing centuries-old club colours because dragons are lucky and stuff like that. Do you remember this at Cardiff when he changed from blue to red?
Right.
Because red's apparently lucky and stuff like that, and he was buying players he liked and stuff like that, and it just...
That's mental.
Yeah, it doesn't work because they don't know anything about football.
No.
But, yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't understand when owners implement head coaches as opposed to managers. Like what? So you think you know their system better than they do in order to dictate their transfers? No.
Yeah.
You let them buy the players they think. If it doesn't work, you sack them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That you have to be able to give the manager the players he wants.
Yeah. Oh, what's that?
Unless you're Eric Ten Hag and then you buy people like Anthony.
What's that horrible saying? You don't buy a dog to bark yourself. Says that? Have you heard that?
No.
Oh, it's something like that. Yeah, don't buy a dog to bark yourself. In essence, that would be the kind of comparable analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You paid that guy a lot of fucking money, about 2-3 million quid a year, to pick an 11, to play a system that he believes in, and he knows he can train throughout the whole week, then execute on match days. And then you run on the pitch at the end of the game going, well, you fucked that, didn't you? You absolutely beeped that. Thank you. This fucking machine's going to be the best thing. It's going to be... I love that.
To be fair, I can see you doing that.
What?
If you owned a football club, you run on the pitch at the end. What the fuck was that, man? Come on.
I'd wait to the
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'd wait to the changing room. Just because I know it's not worth the backlash from the fans for the next fucking 2 months. It's just not worth it. I'll be getting death threats, letters in the post. Fuck off. Leave me alone.
That manager's just in his office, like...
I couldn't hear that very loud then. It was good.
Yeah. This soundboard's class.
It's good fun.
I was just waiting for a mic drop moment and then I could...
Actually, here's one that's relevant too.
Go on then.
Have you seen the Fantasy Premier League top point scorers this year?
No.
Salah is, I think it was 90 points ahead of second place for forwards. That is incredible. I've never seen that, ever. Even Haaland's season last year, when it was ridiculous, 50-odd goals, Salah was closer.
It does mean that I'd have to commend a Liverpool player if I was to admit that, though. And I can't consciously... I'll tell you what, I can do it.
Yeah. There you go. That's good.
None of you are going to know what I said.
There you go. Oh, God. Yeah.
This machine's fun.
It's good, isn't it?
I can set these as well.
What do you mean?
I can change what these sounds are.
Can you?
Not on the fly, but
No.
I can program one, so I might throw a couple of...
I want a chicken noise in there.
Why do you want a chicken?
Just for someone who bottles it.
Oh no, I'm just gonna put football shouts.
Oh. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, there's that one.
So that's when we got a breaking news story, is it?
Man United are shit.
Said like a true fan. Literally. It's so true.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we can go over about. I mean, we could talk about the actual gameplay, the footy at the old Sunday match.
I'll tell you what I can do is confirm a long unknown fact. Is when we were interviewing David Bentley, I said to Dan, I don't think he's ever spoken publicly about whether the Bullard story is true.
Yeah.
And I said to Dan, we need to ask him.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think you actually suggested it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You suggested it because I said I wanted him to talk about the goal against Arsenal.
Yeah.
But and Dan asked him, and the answer was
Completely. Oh, you sneaky little cunt. Oh, he's got me good there.
Yeah.
Set me up, little fucker.
You'll have to watch the shorts to find out.
Yeah.
Unless you can lip read.
That was good. That was good timing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, he was an absolute legend, that bloke. He had time for absolutely everyone. Never said no, never got annoyed. We must have bothered him 15 times throughout the day about different things, whether it be interviews or pictures or, talking to him. Dan gave him some presents and was talking to him for a little while about that. Admittedly, he started that conversation, didn't he? But and then after we'd sort of said our goodbyes, I went and grabbed this at the changing room, and then thought, fuck, I've got to go and ask him to sign it now. And we'd already done our goodbye. It's like when you say bye to someone and you walk in the same direction.
Yeah, literally.
It's just like, fuck. But yeah, he was absolutely fine about it. He just went, yeah, of course I can. His son gave us a pen because we didn't have one. Yeah. And then,
Keep an eye out for his son, by the way. I watched him doing kick-ups and technical ability-wise for his age.
The one with the top knot?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did look good.
That kid's got some. He can't kick a ball. He's not got his dad's kicking power, but he can. His touch and his brain, ball control. He's going to be a decent little player. Yeah. And obviously, if you've got the ins that your dad can give you into any fucking major club, you're probably going to have a career.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed for him if that's what he wants to do.
So we met those four. We said we met Woody from Woody and Kleiny, if you know them off Instagram. Really, really famous guys. Yeah. Who else did we meet? Sean Wallace, the Dark Destroyer off the Chase. Yeah. I was buzzing about
that. Yeah, he was cool. Who was the guy with a double-barreled surname? He's now
Craig McHale-Smith.
Yeah.
He used to play for Brighton.
Mate, what a lovely man.
I didn't speak to him. I'm a bit gutted now, but...
Well, I didn't even mean to have a conversation with him. I was in the changing room at the end of the game, and I was just sort of making sure that players got one of our little goodie bags with all of our tapes in it. And I just go around asking all the guys, have you got a bag yet? Do you complete in any sort of sports outside of these events? And would you like some? And they're like, yeah, of course. And I'm speaking to this physio, the Viking... I'll find his actual name because he deserves a proper shout-out. His name is Ben. Nice guy. Really nice guy. And if you have any sort of physio needs, I highly recommend. His name's Viking Performance Therapy on Instagram. Go check him out. Go give him a follow.
He was a lovely man.
He genuinely, one of the scariest looking men that you're ever going to see. An absolute unit of a man, and that's a compliment. I don't mean that as a negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, the aesthetics, they weren't the truth, if you know what I mean. He was just a very, very nice chap, and he's offering to try and help us out with the tapes and stuff. And I was having a conversation with him, and he was checking my knee for me in case I've ruined my MCL. He was doing a test. So I completely, I just mentioned it. He was like, oh yeah, I can test that out for you. I'll show you in the changing room. Jump on the bed, and then Craig. What's his name?
McHale-Smith.
Craig McHale-Smith. Out of nowhere, he goes, excuse me, have you got any business cards on you? I was like, yeah, of course I do. And he's like, well, I'm currently really heavily linked with Woking, so if I can put in a good word for you, I'd like to do it. I was like, you don't know me from Adam. Why are you being so nice? And I was like, I didn't say that, but I was like, are you sure? Thank you very much. And I've followed him on Instagram, sent him a message just saying, I really appreciate the offer of help. And he replied straight away.
Oh, did he?
Honestly, I've been absolutely taken back as to how human these individuals are. When you think about the kind of the prestige and the pedestal they get put on for a decade of their adult life. And as a kid, you've got to bear in mind, they've been lauded. Even if you've only ever played, say, championship level, you've never made it to the Prem, you've been lauded throughout your whole life for being a fucking extremely talented footballer. And that can go to most people's heads. But the fact that these guys were so humble and just human, just nice people, it goes to show as long as you treat them in a way that you want to be treated, they're gonna treat you the same. And yeah, genuinely, it was a pleasure meeting them all.
Huge shout out to Big John as well, the goalkeeper, off of the Sidemen Chris MD videos. If you've ever watched that, he's in goal.
Yeah,
absolute legend. I went up to chat with him because obviously I watch a lot of football YouTube, so I've been well acquainted with his work, and we had a lovely conversation. He just like had loads and loads of time for me. I know he's not probably the biggest name there, but there's he had no obligation to be as nice as he was, and he was lovely. Yeah, he actually got pulled away by someone else. He was quite happy. And when I asked him for a picture, he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Like,
Quite excited about it.
yeah, I was like, "Yeah, you're class."
It's nice. It was nice.
Big respect to Big John.
Oh, who was the young lad who does the interviews on the Baller League?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I
Him.
apologise. I followed you on Instagram though, so.
Yeah, he was. Like I say, I can't think of any of them. I've got not a negative word to say about any of them.
No.
Oh,
Oh, God,
I'm so bad.
I'll get the beat ready.
No, I'm so bad with names. Liam Snelling,
Yeah.
you scamp. Mate, he was sound. Again, I don't watch television, so I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who, if I'm quite honest, I barely recognised any of the people there.
Yeah,
Is
I
the
did spend the
truth.
day explaining to Dan who people were.
Literally, it's like I'm an old man that's just crept from out under a rock. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But yeah, I didn't know who he was, and I said, I'm really, really sorry, mate. I don't watch TV, and I'm not really on social media much, so I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. What are you known for? He's like, I was on The Apprentice, season 19. And it was a bit ironic. I started mentioning all the bits and pieces that I guess we do in the companies, and he was like, fuck me, you should have been on The Apprentice. Yeah, I've got like 4 of these ex-pros around all having a giggle. And I was like, well, I actually did go through the interview phase when I was 21. I got quite far in that process. But yeah, just again, a nice guy. And he spent ages talking to me. He didn't need to. The old boy who shared the post for us. So many positives.
Leon from the Traitors.
Yeah,
Leon
man.
Jackman, absolute legend as well.
So many positives. And yeah, I really look forward to working with them again. So Jack, the chap who basically started Into Legends.
Yeah, Jack Whiting.
Yeah, Jack Whiting, for a Bulgarian charity for kids to try and give them opportunities in sports and stuff and to get them out of poverty and things. And what a lovely reason to try and get some, celebrities together to kick a ball about. And it was a lovely family day. There were so many kids there all having fun, running up to these ex-pros and celebrities, and not one of them was rude. They were all very polite, welcoming, warming. Even the staff at the Northampton ground were lovely. They were helping us out.
Because I do get really nervous talking to people because I'm like, if that was me and some randomer came up to me, I know how I would react, so I expect everyone to react like that, and they don't. They're all there was no one at that whole thing that wasn't a nice person. Yeah, they were all lovely.
Yeah, we look forward to working with them again. Have we mentioned the second?
I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, we'll be at the other game, which is it's a YouTube 11 versus Into Legends, and that's on the 7th of June at St Mary's.
Yep, Southampton ground.
If you want to come and say hello. Yeah,
it's a big seater stadium, so they're going to be able to fill it. I reckon I don't know whether they will, but I think they should be able to. If you're going to get a packed out. Where was the Sidemen charity match at? Wembley.
That was Wembley, yeah.
I mean, they sold that out. If you can't get 30,000 in to watch the old YouTubers,
there's some big name sort of internet personalities. So you got Pieface, who is the face of it. Jack. I want to say Jack Joseph, the TikTok Instagram guy. Manny, who's Toby from the Sidemen's brother, who is massive in his own right. Yeah. Jackmate and Alfie Indra from the Happy Hour podcast.
Oh yeah, they're in it.
Yeah, they're there. I've been a massive fan of him since about 2013. So
he's an interesting character.
Yeah, it'll be fun to meet him.
Yeah.
So
exciting times.
And I'll be very excited if Akinfen was there.
Big Akinfenwa.
Yeah, I just know he's going to be loads shorter than I think he is.
He's 5'10", isn't he?
Is he?
I think he's about 5'10". Yeah.
Okay. All right. As long as he's not like 5'4", and it comes up to like my midriff, I'm like, that's gonna ruin the illusion of him.
He'll still pick you up and throw you.
Oh yeah, certainly. But I could also pick him up and throw him, which is not going to be.
Bye, Akinfenwa.
I'm bored of you now.
Oh God, I hope he sees this. He won't, but I hope if he sees this and you bump into him,
Yeah,
just looks
we
at you.
get on really well with him. We end up working with him for the next year, and then someone goes, "Have you seen this?"
Yeah.
He reckons. He said.
He's going to throw you. That would be head gone moment. That would be, yeah. But there you go. It's been a nice week, isn't it?
It has.
All in all.
It has. It was a very long day, but worth it.
Yeah, man. We've got some cool content coming your way.
Yes.
Looking forward to releasing that.
Far more professional than this shite.
Yeah, but this is us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want professional, do you? Really? Well, it depends, I suppose.
Well, if you do, you.
This is revolutionary.
I know,
This
this is
fucking
great.
stupid little box. Look at it. Fucking Tascam Mixcast 4. Love it. Look at all the bright colours. It's so
The best thing is I can do that. And now you can't hear him. You can just hear me.
Yeah, lucky. You don't want to be hearing too much of this fucking dulcet tone, do you? This is cool.
This is
You
great.
shouldn't give two big kids this. It's dangerous.
No, I'm just going to put on a Gerard and just do it every time he talks.
I'd love that. I'd
Yeah.
absolutely love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
That's done. Is
Bye.
it? Okay. Bye.